mud to the grave, become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
Came on boats and then chains, so when I get rich, I'ma grab a boat and 10 chains with 12 ribs from each tribe. And each rib gonna have at least 3 kids. Yeah, I'ma have a deep squad, been rapping since knee high. Now a nigga shack size, spit that holy fire, when you hear it, you get baptized. One West World, yeah, you niggas know the logo, and I'ma bust it down so the haters see the glow. Let's have a feast, let's shine on our enemies, right in their face, let's blind all our enemies, cause now we half, but we come from half, not throw that cash on the ground, my nigga, let's cast lots. I started from the bottom, birthed out of mud, raised by gangsters, turned out a thug, I ain't give a fuck, burnt out I was, from hitting licks in and out and selling nicks in the drop.
So many chains and gold teeth, it's the blood of a slave, sit on a throne with a gold crown from the blood of a slave, this is our world, got it from the mud to the grave, become a thing in the past, don't be a story in my page.
Shalom. How y'all doing?
Yeah, those are messed up, no. Bad news is to beat your home, nigga. Yeah. Come on, get on that ass real quick one time. 144, bitch.
They said you get on, you gon' represent, I said of course. Soon as they crank that beat, I ride that bitch just like a horse. She about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, me whole guard. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan, I come with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course, get it lit up like a torch. You even low on this Lord, so that bitch is either or. Yeah, I know them niggas ain't cut like that, I swear I'm too hardcore. Wait up, let me make a call right quick, I'ma start another war. I was hurting when she left, but I don't care about anymore. I need a Vaselina like my Nina Papa bar. Took a Zoc, watch the dark. Matter of fact, like the dark. Any problem, let them go. We gon' snatch they soul like Shane Shaw. Put them out of service, keep them tools like Miss Harvey. Try to hope it's way too late. I'm headed straight to the safe. Throw that one up like a trophy. I'm that nigga, ain't no debate. Told them boys we taking notes. Call them up like set the date. This shit a piece of cake. Yeah, my bitches came from Whole Foods. Told them put on that top 3. Then bring me my house shoes. Don't make excuses, make moves. These niggas ungrateful, gotta show them U.P.K rules. I make hits like I can't lose. They said you get on, you gon' represent. I said of course. Soon as they crank that beat, I ride that business like a horse. She about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, the whole part. You ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I come with the fart. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You even low on this Lord, so that bitch is either or. Yeah, I know them niggas ain't cut like that. I swear I'm too hardcore. Yeah, I just got off the call. I'ma start another war. Spit a plate up with my niggas. Get your knife and your fork. They ain't locked in with the count and when you speaking to me fart. Yeah, I just took the floor. Ain't no cowards in my campaign. They can't stop the campaign. Tell them bring the champagne. They know I'm a champion. They can see the outcome. Get them niggas mad. Got them tied down and outdone. You can't do with them steps. Them niggas been down since day one. We run up the bands, bitch, like dollar. They say you get on, you gon' represent. I said of course. Soon as they pray that beat, I ride that bitch just like a horse. Yeah, about to go dumb, yeah, bitch, we whole start. Yeah, ain't know they call me Obi-Wan. I come with the force. You gon' ride, yeah, of course. Get it lit up like a torch. You either low or this low, so that bitch is either or. I told you niggas, you ain't cut like that. I swear I'm too hardcore. And I just made it go. We gon' start another war. Yeah.
I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. Then we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil.
I remember I was only 13 when I met the demon. Gave me a deuce and a bundle of cocaine. Told me to sell to my people, make sure you keep them fiending. If any try to shoot you, make sure that you leave him leaking. He said,
I'ma hold you down when problems pop up.
how you got me moving this dope? Want me in lockup? He said,
Don't you want the Benz vertible with the top cup?
Yeah.
Stop, bitch, and get in that kitchen. Let it rock up. Bitches love the dope boy, especially when it's wop up. I know you know Ron.
who the plug from by the block up?
I'll tell you a little secret. Make sure that you keep your mouth shut. Ron got a Lexus, crib in Philly and Texas. Trips to the Bahamas, just got a whip for his mama. He fucking up in commas. Be honest, he seemed decent though.
I hear you, but I just seen Ron about a week ago. In fact, he ain't looking too good. His knees is kind of slow. I asked him why the struggle. He got stuck up for his bundle, but them 6 hollow tips in his legs what made him crumble.
At least he got a house and mama is living good.
Said the feds took it all. He right back in the hood. I see you try to play me. You gave us crack in the 80s. Made us abort our babies and making hoes out our ladies. I know you got me gravy, but Satan, you must be crazy. It's gonna take more than them cars when to amaze me. I seen niggas shoot for the stars, but being lazy. Never get their head at the clouds, so you don't faze me.
I guarantee that you gon' regret it. Remember I said it.
Nah, you could dead it.
What you saying? I can't win?
Nah, devil, nice try. So until we meet again,
I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. And we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't religious or superstitious, but we've been getting fucked and put to the side like a mistress. Police patrolling why? Because prison became a business. They murder one of ours and they start talking about forgiveness. We think that it's alright because we got public assistance. If this ain't hell, dog, what is this? Where was all lives mattered when they killed Osama? There was no peace talk like the Dalai Lama. Bush dropping bombs saying he gon' bring the drama. They got justice, man, they even caught the Boston bomber. But when we ride, they send the military in armor. When we fight oppression, then our people die a martyr. You reap what you sow, some people call it karma. When Christ return, y'all gon' get this harvest like a farmer. Don't tell me don't bring up the past no more. They still trying to settle the score with a side of Shakur. I changed my life and I'm just trying to live life right. But at night I look behind me and see flashing lights, patting me down. You got nothing that's poking me right. I don't smoke or push pills, I gave up my vice. So Mr. Officer, why you wanna take my life? And Your Honor, why you gave our homeboy's life? I've been wondering why you shot our homeboy twice. Pussy with a gun screaming out that he got a knife. He came from Habibi's spot, it was chicken and rice. Shit's trife, I'm just giving visuals like Skype. Ask Trayvon, Mike Brown, a Todd Gurley, Eric Garner, Sean Bell, Philando, Olden, Sterling, Jaquan McDonald. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. The white man is so devilish. Ask Hammurabi, he'll tell you who the devil is. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. And we seen the rise of the devil. We fell for the lies of the devil. When we got high was the devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. I ain't have to die to meet the devil. Angels fell and landed in the ghetto. The earth was given to the hands of devils. And we seen the rise of the devil. I pray for the demise of the devil. Lord knows I despise every devil. I looked into the eyes of the devil and said, I pray you die every devil.
All my soldiers on the streets that really get it, all the pain that you seen, I can feel it. I'm your brother, you my brother, we connected. Have mercy on us, Lord, please protect us. All the games that I played, I done seen it all. Ain't taking no shit, not at all. So I gotta go get it. I gotta go get it. All my soldiers on the streets
that really get it. All the pain that you seen, I can feel it. I'm your brother, you my brother, we connected. Have mercy on us, Lord. Please protect us. All the games that I played, I done seen them all. Ain't taking no shit, not at all. So I gotta go get it. I gotta go get it. When you know what's really real, what do it feel like? Do you keep on telling lies just to make yourself feel right? Clutching on my stomach every night. I got bad nerves, sweating in my sleep, fighting demons. It's a cold world. Feel like it's all on me. All the pressure, all the pain, all the struggle, all the hustle, all the tension, not to mention all the praying that I did. Hope it changed for me. Did it change for me? Yeah. Now I'm looking at myself in the mirror, and every day my vision getting clear. God got me, so whom shall I fear? Not a damn soul. All my soldiers on the streets that really get it. All the pain that you seen, I can feel it. I'm your brother, you my brother, we connected. Have mercy on us, Lord. Please protect us. All the games that I played, I done seen it all. Ain't taking no shit, not at all. So I gotta go get it. I gotta go get it. All my soldiers on the streets that really get it. All the pain that you seen, I can feel it. I'm your brother, you my brother, we connected. Have mercy on us, Lord. Please protect us. All the games that I played, I done seen them all. Ain't taking no shit, not at all. So I gotta go get it. I gotta go get it. Preaching prophet of the Lord, so I move like one. Plus I got my brothers with me, but we move like one.
Check. We live?
Check.
Yeah, online and make sure we on the Facebook doing our thing. Yeah. I gotta go get it. Check. All right, there we are. Make sure this is not private. Check. There we go. Clap it up. Shalom. Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah Barakatah. To the brothers. Yahweh Shamar Alatah Bahashim Yahweh Shah. To all my sisters. I'm priest and officer of 1,000 Bon Kayal. Coming out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. And this is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Coming out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General YAHANNA. And tonight is our Wednesday night biblical law class. And this is a very, very important class. This is a very, very important topic when it comes down to so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We are a people of order. You know, the Most High Power created us to be, or chose us to be, a separate nation of people. And what makes us separate is these laws, statutes, commandments, his culture, his customs, his traditions. This is supposed to be a way of life for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. But because we are so far removed from our identity, we are so far removed from the customs that we're supposed to be keeping, we're so far removed from our identity, we don't know these things, all right? And what's happened to us is it's a tremendous transgression in the earth. You know, we're dealing with identity theft. The people that are professing to be God's chosen are absolutely not. The Bible describes them as being the synagogue of Satan. You know, they'll tell Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that you are anything but a child of God, you know, and that's a problem for our people. You know, I love the law class because with these laws, it helps me to get back to our identity. It helps me to really recognize and understand what is expected of me as a Black man living in the earth, living in America, a Black man, you know, who was a father, who was a husband, who was a son, you know, who was a soldier in the I.S.U.P.K. You know, I learned how to conduct myself from these laws, statutes, and commandments that I didn't have this culture. I didn't have these customs when I was in the world. When I was in the world, I was joining Christianity. You know, I was in the church. I think I was putting my best foot forward by striving to be the best Christian I could be, giving my love to everyone and everything, not being judicious as we should, not really using the reason and the rationale of judgment as we should, as the laws tell us we should be. I didn't have that. You know, when I came in here, I had to learn to stand on the truth, man. As a matter of fact, if we can, let's go there. Let's go to John 8:32. I like to start the class off with this scripture because, you know, we connect ourselves to so much falsehood. Right now, you know, you got men believing that it's okay for them to wear female clothes or to identify as a female. We're supposed to be living in a gender fluid society. You know, people are cisgender. They don't want to identify that which is definitive, that which is absolute, which is the truth. You know, when you're born, you are either a male or a female. We're not going to talk about those oddities of, you know, if you're born with extra parts. That's very, very rare. Okay. And that's a mutation. That's not anything that's normal. That's not a natural occurring phenomenon. You know, either you are male or you are female, as the Most High Power, you know, created you to be. You know, but let's get to John real quick, if you can, Baba Kushab.
The book of John, chapter 8, verse 32. And ye shall know the truth.
Ye shall know the truth. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, not only shall you know the truth, the whole world should know the truth about who we are as a nation of people. This truth has been hidden from us intentionally by all the other nations. I had a conversation with a brother, and he was expounding upon his time in Korea and how, you know, when you get to the root of these heathen nations in these second and third world countries, you know, these people, they know who you are as a Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian. They know that you're royalty. They know that you're better than them or greater than them. It's just a natural thing, you know, and so much so that they are willing to serve you. You know, they go above and beyond to serve Black men. You hear about the stories, you know, in the military. You know, the divorce rate is really, really high when brothers go over to Korea, you know, and they deal with them juicy girls and whatever.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Them women know that you are a king in the earth. They know of your greatness, you know, and it supersedes the narrative that is being pushed throughout the earth about us being less than. You know, you think about all of the falsehood that is taught about Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. They call us everything but what we are. They don't call us Israelites. Right. They don't identify, you know, they say we speak Ebonics. They say we speak slang, you know, when our language is Hebrew, you know. We come out of the womb speaking Hebrew. We talk about this all the time. But our people don't know these things. Our people aren't really tuning into these classes. It takes very rich men that have a platform because of their wealth, for our people to take heed and to pay attention to what's going on. You know, what Kyrie Irving and Kanye West and Nick Cannon and Deshaun Jackson, you know, what them brothers was talking about, what they were hinting to or alluding to us being God's chosen people, they were right. They were absolutely right, man. And as God's chosen people, we have to know the what?
And ye shall know the truth.
That's the truth. That's the truth about your identity. The truth is you are not an African, nor are you an American. You know, they name us after two oppressors, man. Amerigo Vespucci and Leo Scipio Africanus, man. Amerigo Vespucci was a merchant, a European merchant. And then we think about Leo Scipio Africanus. He was a European general, man, Roman general, you know. And it's crazy. How do these two oppressors, these two devils represent this melanated nation of people? This people that the Bible describes them as being the salt of the earth. There's people with flavor. There's people with rhythm. There's people with that are naturally empathetic, you know, that have natural resolve, that are naturally compassionate, you know, until they're put in a situation where they have to be violent. You know, that's who we are as a nation of people. You know, what John said to do what?
And ye shall know the truth.
Ye shall know the truth.
And the truth shall make you free.
And the truth shall make you free. We shall know the truth in all things. You know, starting with our customs, starting with the traditions, the things that we learn here in America, the things that were given to us once we stepped off of those auction blocks, once we stepped off those slave ships, man, those Spanish galleons, once we came across the Middle Passage during the transatlantic slave trade, the culture that was given to us was not the culture of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Right.
We were taught in the traditions of George Washington, and Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin, John Adams, man. Those are not our forefathers. Those are not the customs that we were supposed to learn, you know? And it's crazy. We learned those things in slavery, and we still in bondage to those things today. We are still slaves to Christmas. We're still slaves to New Year's. We're still slaves to our birthday. We're still slaves to our women and our children. You know, these are the things that oppress us in this place. And John knew way back then, man, you should know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. You know, in the I.S.U.P.K, we stand on the truth. This is the home of the truth.
Right.
You know, we don't have time to play any games and to live in la-la land, in the land of fantasy, in the land of folklore, in the land of mythology, in the goddamn metaverse. We don't have time to waste when it comes down to our reality, because our reality is hell. You know, you just think about the things that that are just not true. Our oppressor's identity, his customs, his heritage, his history is not true. So much so that he doesn't even want you to learn about who he actually is in the earth. And they banned critical race theory.
Right.
Critical race theory is nothing more than teaching American history, man. It's nothing more than teaching the history of what these oppressors have done to God's chosen people all across the globe. You know, and it is a story of rape, robbery, and murder. That is the MO or the modus operandi of our oppressor, you know, who is the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. We call him the devil because he's the deceiver. He was the serpent in the garden that beguiled Eve, man. You know, that made her believe that she wanted to be as a god. That's why our women want to be worshiped today. You know, it started from the garden. You know, John said, "You shall know the truth, and we shall be set free." In the I.S.U.P.K, this is the home of the truth. We are liberating so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians from the mental, physical, and spiritual chains that have continued to hold us down.
Right.
You know, we advocate for the disenfranchised in this school. You know, we are about the upliftment of so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, specifically the marginalized groups of people. You know, Zephaniah 2:1, Bible Kashah. You know, marginalized groups of people that are forgotten, that are rejected. You know, that are the resources are withheld from them intentionally. You know, we are literally, with this whole rate increase, the interest rate, this what are we dealing with right now? Inflation. It's ridiculous.
Right.
You could be making a base of $20 an hour, and it is not enough to keep the lights on. It's not enough to keep food on the table, man. It's not enough to keep that heat blowing through your vents. And it's crazy. We just had a winter storm, and all the people that died, out of all the people that died, the people that I saw, specifically, I saw a brother and a sister. Why is it? That's not by chance. We have to deal with oppression. You know, us just merely existing is a constant struggle. It's a constant, you know, challenge. We can't even, you know, exist in the earth. We're still battling with things like the elements. That's what our reality is, being Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians in 2022, man. Who thought that people would freeze to death? You would die from overexposure in this place. You know, this is a part of those curses. You know, we're supposed to know the truth, and the truth's supposed to set us free. And this is the reason why brothers are teaching these classes all throughout the earth. We want you to wake up. We want you to separate yourself from you know, the things that we were taught during slavery, the things that we were taught when we were in bondage. You're free now. There's no sense in you continue to eat like a slave,
Right.
Eating pork. They call that the other white meat, and they feed you herbivores and things that the Lord put on this earth to cleanse the earth, full of toxins, and you put them in your body. They say you are what you eat, right? You are what you eat. So why would you eat a pig? Why would you eat shrimp, crab, lobster? Why would you do those things? Because we don't know the truth. All right. If you can, bottle on.
The book of Zephaniah, chapter 2, verse 1. Gather yourselves together.
That's right. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. This ain't the brotherhood class. It's the biblical law class. We're gathering ourselves together under the banner of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. All you fake Israelites that lack the testicular fortitude, you know, to say Khan out of one Khan. Those of you that have left the school, left the truth. You didn't want to submit yourself to the authority of Commanding General YAHANNA. You can't serve a righteous man like Commanding General YAHANNA. What the hell makes you think you'll be able to serve Yahweh Mashiach, who we foolishly call Jesus Christ? What makes you think you'll be able to serve Christ with the way that you are right now, with the way that we are, our behaviors, our conduct, the way we treat each other? We lack brotherhood. We lack compassion and empathy for one another. We are not prepared for the kingdom of heaven. That's a lie. You don't have to die to get to heaven, man. It's like it. Come on, sir. Salakia. You know, that's such a heavy point. Good night. Hold tight, hold tight. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, coming out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. And, okay, Most High in Christ. And this is our Wednesday night biblical law class. My joint, my individual joint. Come on, sir. Come on. Right. You know where we are, brother? Zephaniah 2 and 1. Let me see. Yeah.
It's the book of Zephaniah. I don't have it on there. Oh, stop.
Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together. Yea, gather together. O nation not desired.
Right. So Salakia, brother, if you can. I'm just making sure I got the right one.
Are you two out? You two in the class on Facebook?
Most High in Christ. I think we got it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead. Read that scripture, Salakia.
This the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 1. Gather yourselves together.
Right. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, wake up. Listen up. It's time for us to really gather ourselves together. Not in the spirit of wanting to join hand in hand with the other nations, you know, under the American flag, under that banner, you know, or under Christendom and all the 42,000 denominations on the globe, you know, or under democracy, you know, or under the banner of, you know, these Greek fraternities and sororities or Freemasonry, you know, all these things that literally keep us divided. You know, we're not supposed to be gathering ourselves together in the spirit of Big Crip or Big Blood or the Vice Lords or, you know, any of that, man. We're supposed to gather ourselves together in the spirit of truth, in the spirit of serving the Lord, man. Gather yourselves together in what?
Yea, gather together.
It sounded so nice to said it twice. You know, this is emphasis. This is repetition. You know, repetition is a good thing for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You know, that's how you become proficient at anything, is through repetition. You know, you drill it in your head. You get this drilled into your psyche. You know, we're supposed to be gathered together in the spirit of brotherhood, in the spirit of sisterhood. because brotherhood is synonymous with sisterhood. This is very, very vital to us, man. Gather yourselves together.
Yea, gather together, O nation, not desire.
We don't have a choice. We do not have a choice but to cling to one another, man. We don't have a choice but to gather ourselves together, because all the other nations reject us. All the other nations do not desire so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And we know this. This is, you don't have to scratch your head. This is not a quandary, you know. This is not a great mystery. As long as we've been in America, we've been striving to try to be at peace with our oppressor. We've been striving to be at peace with the other nations, you know, but we've always got it wrong because we don't recognize that, you know, we are a cursed people because of our disobedience. And the curses fit blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We fit each one of the curses outlined in the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter specifically.
Right.
All right. Go ahead, brother. Salaki.
Now, I was having you say that too, how we not desire. I saw a comedian, he made a good point. He was like, white society treats blacks in America like a cashier treats pennies. Like you gotta take them legally. You gotta take pennies.
Right.
You come with 4 or 5 of them. Like, what the hell's wrong with you? All right, that's too much. That's too much. Like, they're gonna think something wrong with you.
Right.
But that's how we not desire. Like a cashier looks at pennies. Like, yeah,
Right.
legally they still worth something, but who wants a bunch of pennies?
Yeah,
You know?
right.
Crazy.
The Brown brothers, right?
And all the white people laughed in the audience. They knew it was true.
Good night. Don't come up there with a roll of pennies.
Oh yeah, you out here.
They still have value, but you know, it's insignificant, you know.
Right.
That's how carnally minded our oppressor is. You know, they just focus on wealth, how much money you got. You know, it's crazy. I was they had that special about the so-called royal family, and it sickens me how our people, you know, we're so quick to want to render aid to people that have been known oppressors throughout history. And they talk about Tyler Perry, you know, jumping to the defense of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Right.
You know, jumping to the aid of him when he decided to renounce his throne and marry Meghan Markle or whatever her name is, who is a heathen. Her father is an Edomite. You know, she's a heathen. She's not a black woman, you know, even though she might have a certain dark hue of melanin, and because her mom might be an Israelite. You are the seed of your father, man. That's the truth. You know, that's the truth that we seek out in this school. All right. But it just sickens me to see how our people will render aid to absolute strangers instead of recognizing, you know, Ray Ray over here, he need this, he need that. You wouldn't set Ray Ray up in your house in Los Angeles.
Right.
Him and his wife, you know, she pregnant, you know, that they need housing, they need shelter, they need that type of stability that you have with those definitive resources that you have. But you're gonna save them. You're gonna save them for, you know, a rich man. You know, he's gonna be okay. You should have allowed another heathen to come to his aid instead of you jumping out the window, you know, for the sake of clout. You know, you lose all. I've lost all respect for our so-called leaders. You know, for the rich of Israel.
Right.
You know, we pray that the Most High Power shakes loose your riches and they pour into the school. You know, you're not keeping God's law, statutes, and commandments if you ain't paying tithes to the I.S.U.P.K.
Right.
You know, that is a part of the law. That's a part of our culture, is to return a faithful 10%, man. You know, religiously. We don't have a religion. This is our culture. This is our way of life. All right. And this is what we are supposed to be doing, you know, because we are a nation that is not desired. Let's drop that. Give me the book of Baruch. Let's go to Baruch 4:1.
Okay. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 1.
Right.
This is the book of the commandments.
This is the book of the commandments
of the Most High.
Of the Most High, man. These are the orders of the Most High Power. When you look at that root, that word commandment, the root of commandment is command. This is an order, man. You talk about God is all love. The Bible says the Lord is a man of war. That sounds like, you know, the Most High Power. He's not asking questions. He's not begging you to do nothing. He's going to let you know. He's going to state his peace, and that's going to be it. He's giving orders. And that's what these commandments are. You are ordered to keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments if you are so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian. All right. This is the book of the commandments of the Most High Power, man. Keep reading.
Khan. And the law that endureth forever.
The law that endureth forever. You know, our so-called oppressor, he's not definitive in any of his ways, man. You know, there's no absolute truth to his laws. He amends his laws every other day. They change their laws. You know, that Constitution supposedly is supposed to be the basis for our democracy or our republic. You know, at one point in time, it was illegal for you to smoke weed. You know, now they are somewhat decriminalizing, you know, the recreational use of cannabis in certain states. It's still federally illegal, you know, but certain states like Colorado and California is wide open. You can get as high as you want there. Right. They even stopped drug testing in the corporate. That is how prevalent this custom is within the earth. But if you Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, you are ordered not to do this thing. Right. For the life of me, I don't even understand why brothers think that there's going to be a smoking section in heaven. It's not going to be no ciphers, man. You ain't smoking with Peter. You're not smoking with Yahawashi or Tupac. I hate to see those memes when, you know, one of our supposed so-called leaders, you know, dies and they put him in heaven. This brother been rapping about killing other Negroes and sleeping with brothers' baby mamas. And you automatically put him beyond the pearly gates. It don't even make sense, man. All right. This is the book of the what?
This is the book of the commandments. Slakia. Mm-hmm. And the law that endureth forever.
So this law, unlike man's laws, unlike America's laws, God's laws, the Most High Power's laws, Yahweh's laws, endure forever. They're everlasting. They don't change. All right. And that's a misnomer when it comes down to the Christian church, because that's the house of confusion.
Right.
Officer Zion brought out a scripture the other day. You know, the things are written aforetime before our learning, for our understanding, for our knowledge, for our wisdom, for our understanding, man. You know, we don't understand simple things. We don't understand these orders that were given by the Most High Power for us to adhere to. We don't understand that because they teach what? A different doctrine in the Christian church. They teach a different philosophy in Christianity, and that philosophy is the worship of our oppressor.
Right.
All right. Christianity is white supremacy, point blank, period. You know, they actually amplify the customs and traditions of our oppressor. Show me a Christian church that don't celebrate Christmas. If they stop celebrating Christmas, I guarantee you they still eating pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. They still saying that it's unlawful for a man to have more than one wife.
Right.
You know, they still celebrate their birthdays. These are the things that we are not supposed to be doing, because it says the law endureth forever. Forever. Remember that from the Sandlot?
Right.
Forever. We got to get that through our thick heads, man. You know, God is not changing when it comes down, you know, to these covenants or his laws that he gave to only Israel. He didn't give these laws to anyone else. This is the reason why heathens do what they do. They don't have a father that loves them, you know. The Most High Power didn't choose the other nations. He didn't choose the so-called oppressor to not eat pork or to not eat shrimp, crab, or lobster, or to not celebrate his birthday. You know, that's why he's a vain bastard. That's why he's a vagabond.
Right.
He takes on the customs and traditions of wherever he decides to roam on the earth, just like Satan, you know.
That's right.
Walking to and fro throughout the earth, you know. Keep reading.
Khan, this is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 1. All they that keep it,
all so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that what?
All they that keep it shall come to life.
We have discarded God's commandments. We have discarded the word of the Most High Power for Christianity, for Islam, for democracy, you know, for the pursuit of happiness. We've discarded what the Most High Power ordered us to do, for the sake of, whatever our mind desires, for our feelings, for what our children want, for what our wives want, man. We hearken into the voice of our wives instead of, doing that hard thing, following orders like a good soldier. Keep reading.
Come. All they that keep it shall come to life.
That's right. If you're not keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, there's over 613 laws in the Bible.
That's right.
The Christian church just focuses on 10. It just emphasizes the importance of just 10 laws, and you don't even keep those. We don't even keep those. Real simple things like not getting edge ups. It's a part of our custom to not do that, or not lay with a woman while she's on her cycle, man. Real simple things like this that were written aforetime. We don't understand them because we've discarded God's laws. We haven't opted to keep the Most High Power's laws, man. Right. Keep reading.
But such as leave it shall die.
But such as leave it shall die. In the I.S.U.P.K, we are literally alive, and everyone else is the walking dead. We're surrounded by absolute zombies, man. And that's because we don't keep the law, statutes, and commandments. It's the reason why we strung out on drugs. We have substance abuse issues. Shalom, Lord Christ. We got substance abuse issues. We deal with abject poverty and dysfunction. Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ. All right, keep reading, brother.
Come. Verse 2.
But such as leave it what?
But such as leave it shall die.
Yeah, because we don't put any value in keeping God's laws, his commandments. We die. That's the punishment of the laws, man. We die at every turn. Judah mourneth is what the Bible says. We are in a constant state of mourning. Every time you turn on the TV, every time you look at the news, another so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian has died a senseless death. Right. A lot of the reasons why we die for real simple reasons.
Right.
And it's silly for you to die for a simple cause. It's silly for you to die at a birthday party.
Right.
It's silly for you to die at a birthday party that gets shot up. You want to play dice, or in the Uno game, or what is it? Brothers be playing spades.
Right.
You done reneged, and now you got to lose your life behind that.
Right.
All because you were gathered together in the wrong spirit, in the spirit of worshiping a person, man. Like that person was the only person born on that specific day.
Right.
It's silly, real silly. You burn your damn house down because you decide you want to mix electricity with water on a tree, that you're worshiping. You erect a Christmas tree in the corner of your living room, and you put it in the post, and you put water in it. They tell you to water it so the needles don't dry out.
Right.
And it's supposed to be a celebration of fertility, a celebration of life, but you're literally killing yourself. You burn your whole damn house down, maybe the neighborhood, maybe the block, maybe your apartment building, because where Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians reside. We live in the ghetto. We live in the barrio, El Barrio. We live in the favelas. We live on the res. We stacked on top of each other like cans of sardines. So if your house goes up in flames, the house above you, maybe in the house beneath you, the house next door, the apartment next door is going up in smoke because of silliness, man.
Right.
We left these commandments. This is the reason why we die. Read verse 2 for me, Baba Kushah.
The book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 2. Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated.
That thou mayest be illuminated. Turn thee, O Jacob. Yahweh, right? Jacob is who? Jacob, his name was changed to Israel, right? Right?
That's right.
He became the progenitor of the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, man. He had 12 sons. Each one of these sons became a chief of the tribes, man. That's how I know I'm an Israelite. That's how I know I'm a Judite. That's the fourth born son of Jacob, man. If you're a so-called Negro, your father was a so-called Negro. His father was a so-called Negro. You're a Judite. If you're Issacharite, your father, the so-called Mexicans. You know, your father, his father, and the father before him, if they were Mexican, that's who your progenitor was. Yashakar, man, Issachar. All right. We know this because we've done the work, unlike your Christian pastor, you know, who's just rubbing his feet together, counting your money.
Right.
He don't give a damn about you coming into the knowledge of the truth. He don't want to set you free. He wants you to continue to be a slave to his Bentley payment, a slave to his wardrobe. You know, what is it? Raphael Warnock, $7,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Stipend for a housing allowance,
Right?
A wardrobe allowance, man. Come on, what are we doing? Turn thee, O Jacob. Turn thee from what? What are we turning from? What are we turning from? Because we're not dealing with keeping these laws.
Right.
We got to turn away, turn our back to Christianity, turn our back to Islam.
Right.
Turn our back to charging crystals and taking your shoes off and going outside and getting grounded, man. Becoming one with the earth. Turn your back on all that witchcraft and all that idolatry. Turn your back on Christmas. Turn your back on New Year's. Turn your back on celebrating your birthday. Turn your back on smoking weed.
That's right.
Popping pills, sipping lean. Turn your back on all that crap. All right. Turn back to the Most High power. You know, turn back to honoring his laws. Holding his laws, his statutes, his commandments in high esteem, honoring those things. All right. Turn thee, O Jacob, and do what?
And take hold of it.
That's how you keep something. You take hold of it, man. You absolutely are enthralled with just the safekeeping of this thing. What are the things that we take hold of? Your birthday means a lot to you. Mm-hmm. Brothers counting down their birthday at day one. Your birthday's on the 31st. You got a countdown on your Instagram from the 1st of January. You know, anticipating the 31st. It's such a silly thing. You know, what are some of the other things that we take hold of? Go ahead, Otto.
So, like, if I may,
Christ.
You talking about our people doing the countdown for their birthdays, and I seen it. I never quite understood until what you just said. Mm-hmm. But it also is like a with all the atrocities and fears and insecurities and battles that we fight. Right. Like you use things like countdown to determine like your value. You know what I mean? Right. Like we get a chance to really wait for somebody to say, yeah, you know, today is your day. Right. You understand? But every day that you live, it has to become your day. Because every day that we live, like, it's a battle. Right. Like you wait until that one day where you can let your guard down and be like, you know what? Today is a day I don't have to battle. I can get drunk as I want to, and nobody's going to bother me. You know what I'm saying? Right. I get high as I want to, and nobody's going to, the water says, and nobody's going to bother me, right? But what we don't understand is on that day that countdown that you're doing, that's the day you should have your guard up in it first anyway. Right. Because that's what we're waiting on. You wait on that one day when you got no worries. What they say on their birthday, no negative energy today. None. But you know, you've been dealing in negative energy the whole goddamn year. And here it comes. You talking about no negative energy today. Right. It's destructive. You understand? And it does not allow you to really fight this empire. We become selfish, and we do not, you know, learn how to fight for what it is we're trying to live and keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Damn right. Like, you're absolutely right. Get that brother a hand. That's heavy. You know, we get into the nature of seeking comfort in palliatives, things that make you feel better because of the oppression, because we're under harsh bondage like we were in Egypt. Here in America, America's Egypt in contemporary times. You know, most people, like I said, you know, because the value of $1 has gone down, you know, $20 is not a livable wage. It was a time you know, if you were living in a rural community, $20 go a long way. Right. That's decent money, you know, at one point in time, but not in 2022. You know, you got 2 and 3 jobs.
You know, you just want some respite. You just want a little relief. You know, this is the reason why we understand it, but that don't mean that you have to do those things. You know, you don't have to give in to just the culture of being a slave to your feelings, being a slave to these stimulants, being a slave to these palliatives. We talk about maladaptive behaviors all the time, or SIBs, self-injurious behaviors. You smoking cigarettes, and you look every time, you know, every time you see a Newport marketing, you know, flyer. I was at the gas station. They had the cigarettes was $6.66. If I was in the world, I'd been like, oh hell no, that's the mark of the beast. I see 666. I ain't buying no damn cigarettes.
Right.
You shouldn't buy the cigarettes because on the box it says that it will cause cancer, according to the Surgeon General. This is a warning by the highest chief medical officer in America. It's telling you this will kill you. They put it right there in your face. But yet and still, you know, we seek that self-injurious behavior. And nicotine is a very addictive drug, man. You know, before you know it, you got emphysema, you got heart disease, you got what CHF is what they call it. And you know, we don't like to go to the doctor, so that cough is just going to keep getting worse. You know, that feeling that just won't go away in the back of your throat, that lump is just going to keep growing. And because we don't go see the doctor, something that's, you know, I'm all too familiar with, you know, for whatever reason, we don't go see the doctor as black men, Hispanic men, Native Indian men. The Bible says to honor a physician. That's what the Bible says. You know, the Lord gave that physician the knowledge and wisdom to deal with whatever your malady is, you know. But the solution is to just stop smoking cigarettes, man.
Right.
Stop doing that. You know, even with respect to being sexual deviants here in America, nothing is withheld. I was watching TV today, that show Yellowstone. I think it's on Paramount. And it's got what's the dude that played in The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston?
Oh, Harrison.
No, not Harrison Ford.
I mean,
they all look the same.
Die Hard dude.
They all look alike.
The Die Hard dude.
No, not him. The one that played in The Bodyguard with Whitney Houston. Come on, sis. I know y'all know. Give her a hand. Good night. Be all coy. She knew who it was.
That was Batman.
I guess it was.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if Harrison Ford is in this show either, but I'm like, man, it said 15 years and old, but they had like real strong sexual situations. I mean, they flat out having full out brother tying fire to a sister. And I'm like, what in the world? Well, he's not a brother. 2 Edomites tying fire right there on, and usually you have to catch that on Cinemax. You know, you have to catch that on HBO after dark or whatever to see something like that. That was during the middle of the day. And you know, everybody's out. The kids are out of school right now. So just imagine having to explain that to your babies. You know, we are taught to be sexual deviants in this place. We're not taught to honor the Most High Power's laws. Right. You know, this is what happens. We get destroyed, you know, because we're joined to these heathens. We have to depend upon these heathens for guidance. You know, like their way is the end all be it. And it's not. There's a better way. All right. Where we at?
4 and 2.
Keep reading, Baba Kusha.
This is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, and verse 3. Give not thine honor to another, nor the things that are profitable.
So, like, go back to 2 real quick, Baba Kusha.
Come. The book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 2. Turn thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk thee in the presence of the light thereof.
Yeah, we got to walk in the presence of the light of these commandments. Walk there in the presence of the light of these laws, statutes, and commandments, man. You know, it's illuminating to other brothers when they see that you're not partaking of the customs of America, the traditions of America. You know, brothers really go home and they're really trying to figure out why Officer why Iathon why you don't celebrate Christmas? Why you ain't standing for the Pledge of Allegiance? They singing the national anthem. This brother sitting down looking at his Instagram. What is that about? You know, because he's walking in the presence of the light, man. You know, he's not in darkness, which is what you're in if you don't know to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. You're walking in absolute darkness. You know, you're dead. I can only imagine what it's like to be in a grave. You know, I'm talking about darkness that you can feel, that you can touch.
Right.
You're supposed to walk in the light, man. We see the things that you don't see because we're keeping the law. Okay. And it said to walk in the presence of the light thereof.
That thou mayest be illuminated.
What does it mean to be illuminated? Give me the definition of illuminated. You know, I have something to do with light. You know, illuminated. We ain't talking about the Illuminati. Go ahead, brother.
Illuminate.
Working? Yeah.
Hey, Google. Hey, Google, give me the definition of illuminated.
Here's the definition of illuminate. Make something visible or bright by shining light on it. Light up.
Most High in Christ. So, you know, these laws, statutes, and commandments shine a light on, you know, the fallacy of America, the fallacy of Christianity, the lies that we're taught. You know, these laws, statutes, and commandments make it easy for you. They are the light in the darkness, because there's nothing but darkness all around so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Right. You know, my brother talked about, you know, you walking in a dark room. When we have to walk in here to shut off the alarm, you walking in darkness. Literally, you got to keep the door open. You pray you get in here before the sunset, you know, or you're using your camera phone light, you know, because you in darkness. You can't see. There's all sorts of obstructions that are hazardous to our overall well-being, you know, without God's law, statutes, and commandments. Keep reading.
Verse 3. It's like book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 3. Give not thine honor to another.
How are we giving our honor to another? What does that mean? What does it mean to give your honor to another, man? Go ahead, brother.
For example, allowing your daughter to marry a heathen.
Good night.
Or a son to marry, you know, another nation.
You think you're getting a good thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You think you're getting a good thing. You know, that was real big with the Dominicans. You want to marry white or damn near next to white.
Right. Yeah.
So that you can change your complexion.
Right.
So that you can be accepted in society because of colorism. You know, the darker you are, the more hated you are. Right. It's repugnant to have dark skin on the planet.
Right.
There's a big reason why there's a rift in the Dominican Republic right now between the Dominican Republic and Haiti. You know,
right.
They're separated by a dry riverbed, you know. But those brothers are being persecuted. If you got dark skin and you in the Dominican Republic, Lord be with you. You know, you're dealing with some real persecution because of colorism, man. Because of this ideal of white supremacy. The idea that thinking that because you have white skin, you're better than darker skinned or melanated people, man. Right. That's a lie. You know, that's a lie. It comes straight from Satan's mouth, man. Go ahead, brother.
A lot of fake Israelites have colorism issues too, because they look at the 12 tribes chart, the 12 tribes sign, and they say, you know what? You know, Puerto Ricans are too light. They can't be Negroes.
Right.
Or only the Negro Mexicans. There's a small, you know, group of them in Mexico. Only the dark ones.
Right.
Or look at the, you know, Argentina, the Chile. Oh no, they're too light. They go by complexion, not by blood.
Right.
So I always ask them, I'm like, what tribe are you from? And they tell me. I said, how the hell you know that? And then they get stuttering and you know you want. They don't even know.
You want what?
They don't know because they have to admit that they only know because of I.S.U.P.K. So now you can't tell anybody. You can't tell him he's not an Israelite. Because how do you know you are one?
Right.
Just because you're darker? What is your skin complexion? Michael Blackson is black. Wesley Snipes is black. What we talking about here? One's Ham and one's Negro.
Right.
So you know,
there's a difference. Yeah. All skin folk ain't kin folk, is what they say. Right. He said, I hate Whoopi Goldberg because her gums is black. Remember that? Good night. What is it? The Moreno? Is that what they call them? Moreno, Morena? I'm doing like Officer Zion, testing out mi español. Es muy poquito. You know what I'm saying? Good night. Anyhow, let's get hell no. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's funny. All right, go ahead. Let's finish that verse.
Come on. Nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation.
Right, we're giving our honor to another when we acknowledge the so-called Jewish man as being God's chosen people. You be at the Holocaust Museum crying like a baby, completely overlooking what happened to your ancestors, your forefathers. Right. I went to the Holocaust Museum on the National Mall in DC. And it was crazy because I didn't have this truth. So I'm feeling, compassion and empathy and sympathy for these heathens that are getting killed by their own people. There's no differentiation between the so-called Jewish man and the German. They're the same. They're both heathens. Right. Arthur Kessler called them, the 13th tribe? You're giving your honor to another. You were chosen by the Most High Power, Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, woman, and child. That's your honor. Why would you even allow them to accept your identity? You feel brothers don't like Eminem. Right. Brothers that are like hardcore, they don't give a damn about Eminem. Right. They could care less about Eminem, because they understand that he is not us. He's not like us. He's not one of us. He's not our brother. All right. And that's cultural appropriation. It's spiritual blackface to me, to see him emulate brothers, but that's another conversation. It says, give not thine honor to another.
Come on. Give not thy honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation.
It's profitable for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments.
Right.
It does nothing for the so-called Jewish man to keep these laws. I mean, it kind of did. It worked for them. They prefer one another. You're not moving into Crown Heights if you're a so-called Negro. Right. They're not offering the best real estate to you in the middle of their communities. They're going to try to keep you and your children from joining their communities. You can't continue to believe in this idea of America, man. This is an experiment that worked because you are on the bottom if you Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian. As long as you're a slave, America works. As long as you celebrate Christmas and your birthday and you're smoking up all the weed and popping all the pills and you being whores and whoremongers, right, America will continue to work. But the second you decide to wake up and to take hold of these laws, statutes, commandments, your true culture, to take hold of your true identity, man, to take hold of the idea that we are brothers and sisters. There is no separation. We brothers and sisters. I love Officer Ayathan like I love Officer Kowal. Right. And me and Officer Kowal have the same mother. I love Officer Zion like I love Officer Quatazar. We have the same mother. That's how we have to prefer one another, being Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. All right. Is that it on that?
Come on.
Go to verse 4.
Verse 4.
It says, unto a strange nation. These other nations are strange.
Right.
That custom of cutting down a damn tree. Christmas is a celebration of death. Mm-hmm. You thinking that you celebrating the birth of baby Jesus. I don't see that nowhere in here in this Bible. But it does say that the customs of the heathen are vain. It does say that. And it goes into the custom of the cutting down the Christmas tree in Jeremiah, 10 and 2, through 5. It talks about that. You literally cutting down a tree that was living and thriving and a part of a viable ecosystem. That tree housed wildlife. I seen a video of they were cutting down a tree in a residential neighborhood, and you see a squirrel jump out of the tree, and it's 200 feet to the earth, and it just runs off. That's what you did. You cut down a living oxygen creating piece of the environment. You're not reducing your carbon footprint at all. The trees, what is it? The flora creates oxygen.
Right.
You worried about CO2 emissions. That's what the trees do. That's what the vegetation does. And the Lord created them to do that. But here you are, envying the oppressor. Here you are, wanting to learn the customs of the heathen. Here we are, doing these things. Cut down a living tree, and as soon as you cut it down, it died. Right. It's dying. And you bring it in your house, and you try to give life to this tree. You got to give it water. You got to stand it upright. You got to fasten it with hammers and nails. You got to make it look glorious. That's why you deck it with silver and with gold. That's why you putting a black angel on the top of a Christmas tree. It's not changing the fact that holiday has nothing to do with us. We're giving our honor to another when we do that. Keep reading, brother. Salakia.
Verse 4. Oh, Israel.
Oh, Israel. Who is Israel? So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. This is a recurring theme. That river, it's always about Israel or Yasharallah in the Hebrew. It's about you, so-called black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, woman, and child. Right. We value our brothers and sisters. We know who we are in this truth, in this school. You're not going to get this in the Christian church. T.D. Jakes ain't talking about, oh, Israel, and pointing at blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. T.D. Jakes believes in the spiritual Israel. He don't believe that these people are on the earth anymore, which is crazy. Oh, Israel, what?
Happy are we.
Why are we happy? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are known for having attitude. We're known for being, the angry black man, or the sister that got such an attitude. The Bible talks about our women being lively. I would liken that unto that spunk that our sisters have, that fire, Happy are what are we happy for? We're not keeping the law, statutes, commandments. The only time we're happy is when we're breaking these law, statutes, commandments. Right. This Bible verse says that happy are we. Keep reading.
Come on. For things that are pleasing to the Most High are made known to us.
Man, the oracles of the Most High were given to who? We're given to who? To Israel, man. Right. So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. All right? We were given these laws as our tradition. We were given these laws as our customs. We were given these laws. This is a part of our heritage or our history. All right? No one else. All right? It's about time for us to reclaim our history, reclaim our identity. What Maxine Waters says, reclaiming my time. We need to reclaim who we are in the earth. All right? All right, let's drop that. Let's go. Keep reading. Is that it on that?
Come on.
Most High in Christ. Yeah, read verse 5. I like that.
Verse 5. Verse 5. Be of good cheer, my people.
Be of good cheer. This ain't talking about, the Christmas spirit. We're supposed to be of good cheer when we are keeping God's laws, statutes, and commandments, man. It's not a grievous thing. To take Christmas away. I got a child that has never celebrated Christmas. Right. And she's intrigued when she sees, the Santa Claus and the reindeer on the tablet. She don't understand that though. That's not a part of our custom. We're not decorating our home with garland. We're not decorating our home with a Christmas tree. You got that, brother. Yeah. Go ahead. Make sure brothers are straight, Bible show. There's brothers in this truth that have never, kneeled before a Christmas tree. There's brothers in this truth that have never went and stood underneath a ball and watched it drop with a countdown. Right. There's brothers in this truth that have never been desecrated by stepping foot in a church. It's very foreign. It's commonplace for us to understand because, most of us grew up in the church. I keep scratching my head wondering why or what the hell my parents were doing. Because they were both born after 1969. What were they doing to not want to know the truth about this Bible, to not want to serve the Most High Power in spirit and in truth. What were they doing? Too busy dealing with oppression, too busy shucking and jiving, trying to survive. That's what our people were doing. That's what our parents were doing. But our children, we breaking generational curses in here.
Right.
You know, give Mozzie a hand. Most High in Christ. Sister Mozzie in the house. You know, she ain't gonna ever celebrate her birthday, Lord willing. You know, because she's got a strong father. You know, that gives her sound counsel and guidance and protection. He's protecting her from, you know, the evil. I still think about the actions of you taking your child down to the mall to sit him on some stranger's lap with a wish list.
Right.
You teach your children not to talk to strangers, but on this specific day, it's okay for you to talk to this strange white man and for you to bake cookies for this absolute stranger that's going to break into your home. Everything about the custom and tradition is silly, you know. Yeah, drop that. I got some stories queued up here. I wanted to get into the history of New Year's, all right? And it's really what's really interesting about the New Year's celebrations and customs. Matter of fact, y'all tell me, what are some of the customs of New Year's that we embraced when we were in the world? That our parents, you know, fostered as being truth. These are the things that we grew up doing. What are some of the actions of celebrating New Year's?
I would say Salakia. I would say what they say, make sure you got all your clothes washed before you going into the new year. Like you're supposed to have your home clean and all your clothes washed and all that stuff like that. You can't take whatever that was in the old last year into the new year. You know what I'm saying?
Good night. So make sure you got your clothes washed. That's a labor. That's a labor of love there. You going through the house, washing all the laundry. Go ahead, Officer Ayathon. You got something? No, go ahead, Officer Kowal. Yeah, you know, he used to celebrate New Year. No. He pull up, huh? You got something?
Come on. Cooking the food, the black eyed peas, collard greens.
Right.
What's what I heard? You got to do. You said the clothes, right? It was something else. You got to.
You walk through the front door and out the back.
Yeah. Like open it. Got to go through the front door, open the back. Got to sweep the doorstep off.
Hold on, give me. Open the front door and the back. So you got to open up your house.
You got to go through the front door. You got to walk through your back door this year. Walk around the house. Then you got to sweep the porch off.
You know that goes against black culture. You can't keep nobody's door open. You letting out all my heat. Mm-hmm. You letting out all my air. You know that goes against our custom.
Oh, you got to cut off all the Negroes on your phone. They ain't gonna give you a ring. I saw that today.
New year, new you, huh?
Yeah. This is said. If you ain't giving it, I know the ones there's potential. So all the dudes is trying to date her and talk to her. No, if you ain't gonna give me no ring, then you cutting you off. That means she gonna start over and get more bodies.
Oh man, that's rough.
And we can't forget about whatever you're doing on New Year's. That's what you can be doing all year.
Right.
So brothers like, man, let me get with his sister so I can be, you know what I'm saying, have relations throughout the whole year. You understand? That's what they used to say, having a good time. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh,
good night.
You got to kiss when the ball drop. You got to find somebody and kiss them, tongue them down. It's good luck.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Oh, okay.
Don't act like you remember that.
No. I don't know nothing about that. You know, we put that man to death. You know, spiritually.
Yeah.
Getting all dressed up to just be in the living room. Oh, go ahead.
How can I forget Hallelujah night? Revival night. Me, obviously, how I was talking about it was called revival. I think it's a revival. What's it called? Watch night. Yeah, watch night. So basically, Christians believe that the turn of the new year is potentially when Christ could return. So you want to be caught in church.
What?
If that sky cracked. So the ball drops and 3, 2, 1. Everybody wait for a rumbling in the trumpet. It don't happen. You good as long as you in church. So yeah, going to church on New Year's is the custom of black folks too.
What in the world?
I think it starts at like 9 or 10. They have like choir. Yeah, they go right there, go to 12. When the ball dropped, then they do a little eating and they get on out of there.
How many tithes do they collect? Tithes and offering, building fund. Good night, man. I do remember that vaguely.
Slocky, like I said, it's like anything else I was talking about, how we wean ourselves off of sin. You still in it. It's like when you start, when you come, you realize that New Year's is wrong. You'll stop going to the club on New Year's, then you'll go to church.
Right.
Remember that time we was at, I ain't gonna mention the name, but we was all there playing Madden and chilling. And we think we're gonna be drinking, turn up for New Year's. These niggas coming there with church clothes on. Where y'all finna go? It's like, man, we finna go to church, man. Like, we y'all start doing that. I was like, man, we gonna go to church. I was like, y'all some hardcore rappers running around here, fan, we all got church clothes on.
Right.
In church. Oh my goodness.
Superstitious. Folk believing in folklore. And you might as well believe in fairy tales, man. Aesop's fables, Mother Goose. That's what you should believe in. That's what we believe in when we do these things. That's what our oppressor believes in. Right. We're supposed to be serving the God of the universe, man, the creator of all things. Not getting caught up in that foolishness, making greens and black-eyed peas, Good night, man. Let's go to the book of Exodus, the 20th chapter, verse 3. And so what we have to understand that at the root of all of these pagan observances of the heathens, that it's the worship of other so-called deities or other gods or other powers. The god of Christmas was Nimrod, right? The god of Thanksgiving was the so-called white man, the so-called oppressor. Right. Who's the god of the 4th of July? The white man again. He's glorying in, him being able to liberate himself from tyrannical monarchy. That's his declaration of independence. It's not a thing for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to glory in because we were enslaved. Right. So a part of him attaining his independence and establishing himself in the new world was that you had to be on the bottom in servitude. You had to be a bondman or a bondwoman. Doesn't make sense. So this year, don't celebrate the 4th of July. Don't go to the barbecue if you're a so-called black, Hispanic, or Native Indian. It don't have nothing to do with you, but it has everything to do with, you being on the bottom. Right. Just like with New Year's. New Year's has nothing at all to do with so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Has nothing to do with our God. Has nothing to do with the worship of our power. All right. I think I got an article queued up. It's the first tab, and then if you can pull Exodus 20 and 3. So let's start at 20 and 1.
Book of Exodus.
Run this down real quick. Salaki, you got it, brother.
Book of Exodus.
Yeah, we can go into that too. Go ahead, Officer Ithon.
Book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 1. And the Most High spake all these words, saying,
yeah, not T.D. Jakes, not Shirley Caesar, not Juanita Bynum, not Creflo Dollar, not Joe Biden, not Kamala. That's another thing. I saw a video of Kamala Harris and her husband, promoting the celebration of Kwanzaa. Mm-hmm. Now we have an East Indian, and we have she's literally an Edomite, If you trace the lineage of her father, he looks like a black man, but his ancestry goes back to Scotland. Okay. But her mother is an East Indian, red dot, no feather, and they met in grad school in Berkeley, and it's really interesting. She ended up marrying a devil, and they're trying to promote the celebration of Kwanzaa to so-called African Americans. This is blackface. This is blackface in contemporary times. Kamala Harris is not a black woman. All right. She's not a black woman. We just talked about all skin folk are not kinfolk. Although she might rock the pearls and put on the damn Chuck Taylors, you know, and claimed that she listened to Snoop Dogg when she was in college and that she smoked weed, all these negative things, these negative caricatures of who they deem that we are. Right. This narrative that they paint about our people. You know, she's not a black woman. She could never identify with the struggles of a black, Hispanic, or Native Indian woman. Right. All right. You know, but it was interesting to see them try to promote Kwanzaa. And she talks about how she remembers sitting down and just trying to find a place at the feet of the elders as they go over the tenets of Kwanzaa or whatever. And it's like, what the hell? And then her husband, when he started opening his mouth, it was more of it was disgusting for him, because I know that they know. They have to know at that level. Right. They gotta know. She's been locking up. She broke a state record in California as the district attorney, man, locking up black and brown men and women in the state of California. That's where Kamala Harris, you know, comes into play. This is the reason why she was the running mate for Joe Biden, you know, who authored the 94 crime bill, man. But they're not going to talk about those things. Right. Your pastor ain't promoting that in the church. He's just telling you, make sure you vote. Your vote matters. Your vote counts. Exercise your right. You have a voice. He's going to promote you voting for the Democratic Party or whatever stool pigeon they prop up, like with Raphael Warnock or Herschel Walker. It was a real big, you know, Senate race. Right. It was ridiculous, man. You don't vote for the lesser of two evils at all, because they both are part of the same dumb bird, man. You know, left wing or the right wing. It don't even matter. All right. Read that again, brother. Salakia.
Book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 1.
Right.
And the Most High spake all these words, saying,
this is what the Lord said, right?
Verse 2. I am the Most High thy power.
Thy power. That's possessive there. Thy. You know, we have a power that will fight for us. We have a power, and his name is Yahweh, not Yahuwah or Yesh. I don't even know some of the names that they blaspheme the Most High's name with. Right. The Tetragrammaton, YWHW, man. Phonetically, you need to come into the I.S.U.P.K. because we have a language class. Right. It's taught by my brother, Officer 50 Quadam, man. Right. His brother been holding this truth down, teaching this truth about our language, driving all the way from where he lives to come to Fayetteville every Friday. Him and Officer I.S.U.P.K. hold down this class to teach you the truth about the language. And it's so beautiful because it's a correlation between the language and you actually getting an understanding about the scriptures. You wouldn't even mess up the name of the Most High Power if you spoke the Hebrew, if you understood the Lashuan Kodash, you know, because you know there will be no you in the phonetic sounding of the I hate to call it an alphabet, right? You know, but from what to tha, man, you don't see you anywhere, the oo anywhere, you know. Keep reading.
Verse 2. I am the Most High thy power,
right?
Which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt.
We forgot what the Most High Power did for us. We forgot. We want to go back to Africa. You know, power to the people. Peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism. That's what Dr. Umar Johnson says. He's promoting the idea that you're an African if you're a so-called Negro. Newsflash, man. You know, we were just seeking asylum in Africa, just like Christ did. That nativity story, read about that. You know, they came from Bethlehem and they were seeking asylum, which is a human right. You know, you can go to amnesty.com or .org and it'll define what a refugee is and what asylum is. We don't understand these terms because this is a bastardized language of English, but it is your human right to be able to go to another place if you're being persecuted in your homeland or wherever you reside. And Christ was being persecuted by Herod at the time. And that's the only reason why he went into Africa, which is another, you know, shocker. How are you going to hide out in Africa if you don't have melanin? How are you going to hide out in Africa if you are a so-called oppressor, a so-called white man. How? Don't make sense. You know? See, now is this critical race theory? We talking about history right now.
Right.
We're talking about the truth right now. You know, this is shedding light on the darkness that we have been taught since being in this place. You know, Christ was him, Joseph and Mary were political refugees seeking asylum in Egypt. That's what they were doing while they were there. They weren't going there to learn about charging crystals and the Kundalini or Islam. They weren't there to worship Egyptology, all the many gods of Egypt, the polytheism of the Egyptian culture. They weren't there to read hieroglyphs.
Right.
They weren't there to worship Pharaoh, man. They weren't there for that. They were there trying to survive. And that's the reason why your ancestors, our ancestors, got caught up over there. You know, 70 AD, Jerusalem fell. You know, that's history. That's real history. But you're not taught this history in the Christian church. You taught that God is all love. You taught that God loves everyone. You taught to this doctrine of pacifism, to just lay down and die. And when you die, nigga, that's when you get your heaven.
Right.
Instead of you fighting for your heaven right now on earth. The Bible says heaven's going to be here on the earth.
That's right.
All right. Keep reading. Thou shalt what? No, verse 2. Salaki, I'm jumping ahead.
It's like out of the house of bondage. Verse 3.
Right.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Right. The Most High Power brought us out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. America today is that same house of bondage just spoken about right here in this verse. Mizraim, you know, that permeated every facet of the Egyptian culture, just like it did with Roman culture, you know, just like it did with America. Behind every great fortune is an even greater crime, you know, and there's a lot of truth to that. So we were brought out of the house of Egypt, out of the house of bondage as bondmen and bondwomen. We were liberated, right? The Most High Power liberated us. And you talk about not one arrow was shot, not one spear was thrown. You know, we didn't have to, you know, lift a finger. All we had to do was be obedient. Obedient to the command of the Most High Power. We were obedient then. And you could be obedient today.
Right.
You know, nothing has changed. We can be obedient today. We don't have to continue to be described as that stiff-necked people, hard-headed. You say a hard-headed make a soft. I like behind. That's what I was raised to believe. We couldn't say that other word. You know what I'm saying? But he's absolutely right. The other one said a hard-headed make a soft ass, man. And it's true. Get tenderized. You know. Keep reading.
Verse 4.
Verse 3.
Sorry. Verse 3.
Salakia.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Israel shall have no other gods before the Most High Power, man. But when we taking on the customs and traditions of the oppressor, envying the oppressor, choosing all the ways of the oppressor, you know, at the root of all of his heritage, all of his culture, his customs, his traditions, is about polytheism. It's about the worship of other gods. So much so that, you know, he details the recording of time. He pays honor to other gods with just recording time.
Right.
We think about hours. Okay, that's one thing. How many hours are in a day? 24 hours in one day, right? How many days are in a week? 7 days in a week. Well, what are the name of the days of a week? What anybody know? What does Monday represent? Well, Sunday. We'll start with the first day. What does Sunday represent?
Sun.
The sun god, right? Like Horus or Ra or whatever, you know. It represents the sun god. This is the reason why they tell you you go to church on Sunday. You know, you are spiritually worshiping the sun. You know, on the first day of the week. What's the second day? Monday, right? Lunes. Is that what they call Monday? Oh, it's more Espanol, right? The root. Jake always acting up. Lunes, the day of the moon, right? The moon god. What about Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday? Friday. All these days are named after other gods. So you really can't escape it, right? I'll level you up one. Usually we have how many weeks in a year? 52 weeks in a year, right? 52 weeks in a year. You know, how many months are in a year? How many months in a year? 12 months in a year, according to whatever calendar, the Julian or Gregorian calendar, right? At one point in time, there were 10 months in a year, right? This is the reason why, you know, we get to the root of September, which is what? The 7th month, right? October. What is the prefix to October? Octo, right? 8, right? How many legs does an octopus have? 8, right? How many sides does an octagon have? 8, right? Then you got November, right? What do they say in Spanish? Nueve, right? 9, the 9th month, right? And then 10, December or diciembre, right? Deci is the there you go. You think about a decimal, right? It outlines what? Tens, literally, right? It's a separation. But we acknowledge what calendar today? Is it the Gregorian or the Julian? Which one is it? Most High in Christ. Most High in Christ. You think about the names of the months, even the names of the months. You know, the last one, the Farmer's Almanac. You see the Farmer's Almanac tab?
Right.
We can get into it. Pull that up, Baba Kushab.
Which one?
Minimize me and let the people see. Not that one. That's another tab.
Okay, no sweat.
It's probably the last tab up there.
Yeah, you want you to be small. Hold on.
Right.
Can you read this right here? Or you want to go to the next one?
Go to the one with the rooster.
Okay. Let's see.
How did the months? Yeah, there you go. Most High in Christ. You know, we're getting into, you know,
Pagan gods?
Yeah, the rooster. How did the months of the year get their names?
Yeah,
Right. Most High in Christ.
Yep. All right, no sweat.
And this is according to the Farmer's Almanac, right? You got it?
I'm gonna go to the actual page and scroll down.
Yeah, because they're not seeing it. They're just going to see the page.
Right, that's what's all right. How did the months of the year get their names? Ever wonder how the months got their names? We explain what deities, rulers, and numbers help name January through December. It says, essentially, there are 3 sources: Greek and Roman deities, Roman rulers, and numbers. Take a look at how they influence each month from January to December.
Give me Proverbs 3:31, Baba Kushab.
Month names and their origins.
Right. So we're getting into the origin of these names of the months. You know, real simple thing. This is real commonplace. Everybody has a calendar. You know, this is the calendar that we go by, that we acknowledge today. You know, just read Proverbs 3:31 real quick.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 3 and verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor.
Right. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians should not envy who? The oppressor, right? We know who's been oppressing us since day one, since we came off the auction block. Who's been buying and selling and trading us up and down the river? You know, our oppressor, right? The devil, the Bible speaks of, right?
That's right.
Envy not the oppressor, and what?
And choose none of his ways.
And choose none of his ways. All right. So acknowledging his time, his measure of time.
Right.
You know, it goes against our custom. It goes against our traditions. It goes against our heritage. This is not the way we measure time. All right. Read about the let's continue.
Month, name, and their origins. January is the month of Janus, the Roman god of beginnings and endings.
Good night. This is a Roman god, and this is what you're celebrating on New Year's. You know, the New Year's Eve traditions the celebratory traditions of New Year's. You were acknowledging the goddess of Janus, is what you said?
Janus for January.
Right, in the month of January. That's why it falls on December 31st at the stroke of midnight. That's a new day. The way we measure time is from sunset to sunset, right? That encompasses a total 24-hour period, all right? That's the way we were taught to measure time from the book of Genesis, man, all right? But our oppressor, he had a different mind. He sought to change times. What is it, Daniel 7?
Mm-hmm.
Daniel 7:25. Keep reading about the article real quick.
Janus presided over doors and gates, appropriate for the beginning of the year. Indeed, Janus was usually depicted with faces looking backward and forward, as is characteristics of a new year.
Good night. That just sounds like a lot of mythology. Sounds like a lot of folklore.
Right.
You just imagine, like, if you had to really hold true to that tradition, the goddess of doorways. I remember when I went to a PWI, they have a clock, and this clock is like a walkway, like you can walk underneath it. And they would always say it's bad luck if you walk underneath this clock. That means you're not going to graduate on time. You know what I'm saying? Needless to say, I ain't walk underneath. I did walk underneath the clock. I didn't graduate on time. Right. But, you know, we don't believe in superstition. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But that is, superstition is steeped in the tradition of our oppressor, because he doesn't acknowledge the God of the Bible. He doesn't acknowledge the God of the universe since Cain. You know what I'm saying? He's been cursed to be a vagabond, man. All right. So you don't have no culture. Keep reading on Janus.
Does it on Janus?
Okay.
February, the month of cleansing.
Oh, let's go back to January real quick.
Kamakan.
You know,
January is the month, the Roman god of new beginnings and endings.
Right. So when we talk about your New Year's resolutions, what is that? What is that all about? A New Year's resolution. You talked about that earlier. I mean, what the hell are you doing all year anyway?
Right.
For you to have to make a resolution.
Right.
This is the root of resolution, is to like resolve. Our oppressor will resolve all of his debts. You know, January 1st, he wanted to make sure all of his business affairs were in order. He didn't want to go into the new year owing anyone.
Right.
Okay. And if he had a debt that needed to be paid off, he ain't got no money. He got you. He got bond men and bond women. That was one of the worst days for so-called blacks, Hispanics and Native Indians too, being the threat of being sold up the river. Your Black Friday, you know, after Christmas, right? Well, I mean, after Thanksgiving. This whole season has been a season of heartache, a season of despondency, man, for our people, as long as we've been joined to the oppressor.
Right.
You got something, Officer Ayathon?
Come on. I was gonna say, you know, it said what is it, the beginning and the ending?
Right.
Right. Like the beginning and ending of what? You know what I'm saying? Because you ending a year celebrating death, and you beginning the year celebrating death. You know what I'm saying? Like your new year starts while everything is dead.
Right.
So what is it the beginning of?
Yeah, what is it the beginning of? What is it the beginning of? You're doing what the heathens do. You know, when is the Chinese New Year? The Chinaman he's got it made. Right. The so-called oppressor calls him the model minority. All right. The model minority. And, you know, whatever, the Chinese man is not seeking to be at one with the oppressor, man. He don't give a damn about, you know, being in the politics of our oppressor. He don't care about, you think about, there's a Chinatown in every major U.S. city. And I know this firsthand because when I lived in D.C., got a Chinatown there. Go to New York, they got a Chinatown there. Went to Houston for the Passover. They had a damn Chinatown down there in Houston. Yep. Why is that? Yep. The Chinese man, he understands valuing his brother. He understands the value in them, you know, coming together and pooling their resources. He understands the value of being uncomfortable for a time. You know, he understands the value of building his own. He's got his own community. He's got his own treasure city within the treasure cities of our oppressor.
Right.
Not only does he have that, he has China. He still has China he can go to.
Yep.
But he decides to come over here and oppress you, so-called the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. He's selling you what? What is he selling you?
Cat dog.
What is he selling you in the barrios, man? What is he selling you?
Cat, dog, rat, hair, synthetic hair.
Right.
What else?
There's a China one, a golden
Right.
eagle.
Nail, doing all your nails.
You getting the four wing and four white?
Yep.
You want elbow? That's what
Elbow.
you're getting, right? So Salakia. Salakia. That's not professional. But that's what he's done, And they expect they tell you to speak proper English.
Right.
But they've been deemed the model minority. They don't speak proper English. Come on, man. All right. What else we got?
February, the month of cleansing, is derived from February, the name of a Roman purification festival held on the 15th of this month.
Right.
March is named after the god of war and a planet Mars. In ancient Rome, several festivals of Mars took place in March because that was the earliest month of the year,
right,
when the weather was mild enough to start a war. At one time, March was the first month in the Roman calendar. The Romans changed the order of months several times between the founding of Rome and the fall of the Roman Empire.
Right.
April is from Latin aprilis, which is a derivative of the Latin base aprio, meaning second. April was named as such because of the tweaking of the ancient Roman calendar, where April was the second month.
Right.
We got May. Get over here, go to May. It says May springs from the Greek goddess Maia,
right,
daughter of Atlas and the mother of Hermes. She was a nurturer of earth and goodness, and she was a nurturer and an earth goddess, which certainly explains her connection.
Hold on, Salakia, for a minute, Kawal. When you went into April, right? It said it's supposed to be the second month, right? So that means we actually at the beginning, not at the springtime, right?
Right.
So even in that history, they're telling you that the beginning of months will either start at the end of March and the beginning of April.
Right.
So they have us thinking at the beginning of, the month start in January, like Ayathan just said, in the dead of winter.
In the dead of winter.
So even in that history, if you care to find out what they say, F around and find out.
Right.
So we looking at just in that history. Is that a secret website you don't read up on, Kawal? Is that some kind of mysterious thing Bunk y'all typed up? So even in their history, we can read that. Guess what? They understand that the beginning of the months will be at the end of March, beginning of April. As to why do we say this is the new year doing what? The Passover is usually during those months in the beginning. Even in their history, they understand that. Salaki.
No, damn right. Give that brother a hand. It's a very, very valid point, because our new year begins at the Passover. We can go into the book of Exodus and talk about, when we were supposed to begin or to look at the new year. This is when everything is anew. This is when everything is fresh. Right. You said the dead of winter. That's because everything is dead. Everything is dormant right now. Okay, smack dab in the middle of winter. This is not a new year. Even the Chinese man has his own separate new year. All right. You got Daniel 7:25.
Book of Daniel, chapter 7, and verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High.
We're talking about our oppressor, man. Speaking great words against the Most High power. What are some of the great words he speaks against the Most High? What are some of the great words he speaks? You said it's okay for a man to marry a man. That's right. You said it's okay for you to celebrate your birthday. Right. Or for you to acknowledge all of these other gods with respect to his time, that he came up with these times. I didn't read about this in the book of Genesis. I didn't read about Maya and Janus. I didn't read about none of that there. What are some of the great words he speaks against against the Most High? That God loves everyone?
Mm-hmm.
It's plain to see that God obviously loves so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians enough to punish us for our disobedience,
Right.
for our gross transgressions against, the contracts, the covenants that we signed up for, man. We signed up for these things, We're supposed to be men and women of our word.
Right.
We need to hold true to our traditions of our forefathers, of our ancestors, man. What are some of the words that he speaks against the Most High? He's saying that he's God's chosen. Does he not?
Right.
Does the so-called Jewish man not profess to be God's chosen people?
That's right.
They do. That, and it's speaking against, that's blasphemy.
Right.
That's blasphemy. The Bible says that's the synagogue of Satan in the book of Revelation. That's what the Bible says about the so-called Jewish man. Good night, man. All right, keep reading.
Come on. So like a verse or
yeah, the verse.
Come on. And shall wear out the saints.
Wear out who?
The saints.
We ain't talking about the NFL team in New Orleans. Who are the saints? Who are the saints? They say, oh, when the saints go marching in, who are the saints that are supposed to be marching? Sounds like a military.
Right.
It sounds like, God is a man of war. It sounds like a warlike unit. The saints are going marching. This goes against that whole idea of pacifism. The whole idea of God is all love. Who are the saints? Go ahead, brother.
The Israelites.
And how do we know this? Most High in Christ. You're absolutely right. The saints are the Israelites.
Right.
The saints are the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Not any of the saints that are denoted via Roman Catholicism, man. The popes and all that. Those are not saints, man. Mother Teresa was not a saint. All right. She was just a heathen. She was a heathen that focused on rendering aid to the less fortunate, but she wasn't a damn saint. That is our honor. That's who we are. We're the saints. All right. Keep reading. How are the saints being worn out? How are we being worn out? Having to work 2 jobs, man, to make ends meet. We've been trying to make $1 out of 15 cents since when? Since before Tupac even said that.
Right.
How are the saints being worn out? Go ahead, brother.
Through oppression.
Right. Through oppression from the oppressor. We call them oppressors because it's commonplace with his actions against us. And it makes sense. Drawing those direct correlations. That's his identity. He is an oppressor. He's wearing out the saints. You working two 8-hour shifts, working 2 jobs. When do you have time to really focus on, serving the Lord? You're working. I understand why we seeking, relief. It's easier just to go with the flow. It's easier to just do what everybody else is doing. It's easier just to, I gotta stop by McDonald's and feed, get a McGriddle. That's easy. They make it very, very convenient for you to sin against your power, being black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. I was just thinking about today, like, where the hell do people that live on Murchison Road, where do they buy their groceries? Where do they buy their groceries? Because it shut down the damn Walmart because of shoplifting, apparently. Right. Where are so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians supposed to, purchase their food? You ever heard of a food desert? It literally is a food desert on Murchison Road. They used to have the V Point. They shut that down, right?
Right.
I'm trying to figure out where they go shopping. They got to go all the way to Scarborough Walmart, or go all the way to the Food Lion on Country Club. Right. There is no easily accessible food stock there. And that's probably another initiative, Officer Zion. We're going to talk about that. Right. Community refrigerators, putting community refrigerators, throughout the places where marginalized people live, you know. Good night, man. The saints are being worn out because of oppression. Go ahead, brother.
Salaki, what we I didn't forget about what you and I had talked about.
Right.
But we talk about the other community that's called food lockers, right? And what you'll find out, these are the things that they do that we don't even have access to. Like they have these things called food lockers in these communities that you don't even think about, and people can go in and grab what they want and leave, and they'll be able to eat.
Right.
You understand? We stand in lines and ask for handouts, and they give us things that destroy us.
Right.
So if we could being able to see what the other nations are doing that we don't find out about, it's almost like, damn, we are the bottom. Like nobody's concerned about whether we eat or not.
Right.
We never heard of these food lockers and even have to have access to them.
Right.
So what you talking about is powerful. You understand? Most High in Christ, brother.
Most High in Christ. Get that brother a hand, man. Straight up. Go ahead, Officer Ayathon.
Like if I may, like what y'all saying so heavy because our oppressor, you know, like Zan was just saying, like they basically telling you to die, basically. And it's so crazy because in this place, you know what I'm saying, you can go to I don't know the name of the thing. No, the thing where they can go to and get everything that they need to do the drugs.
Oh yeah, methadone clinics.
Right.
So, yeah, we're talking about harm reduction.
Right. Yeah. And they'll give you everything that you need. They'll tell you how to use it and everything.
Right.
One of y'all brothers sent a video of it.
Right.
And then if you ask them, you know, well, where do I go if I want to get clean? They don't have nowhere to tell you to go. So they won't feed you, but they'll give you the things to keep you high and like in the dark.
Right. No, get that brother a hand. You're absolutely right. Oh, go ahead, sis.
Salaki, when you say that the saints are being worn out, I would say that you're made to believe you have to always live in turmoil. You're not allowed to have a level of peace. Like we don't deserve to have peace. It always has to be some type of turmoil in your life.
Right. No, give her a hand. Right. Damn right.
And piggyback what she was saying too, like even the word worn out. Who else talk like that? Black people, like you tell black people wrote this Bible, like worn out, really? Like, come on, man. Oppressors don't use the word worn out, especially in their writing. You can't find Shakespeare and see worn out.
Right.
Like we understand what it means to be wore out. Like you wore those shoes out. How was your day, man? I wore out. Like black people and Hispanic, we know what wore out means.
Right.
That's how I know this Bible was only talking about us 12 tribes.
Damn right. Get that brother a hand. You're right. Saints are being wore out. And you think about the work that you do as a priest and prophet, you know, it's always something to do. There's always work to be done, you know, to the point where I ain't gonna say we worn out, you know, as long as I have breath in my lungs, you know, and the ability to stand and fight, that's what we'll do, Lord willing. But good night, man. It'll wear you out dealing with this oppression, you know. Keep reading, brother Salakia.
It's like Book of Daniel, chapter 7, and verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High.
Right.
And think to change times and laws.
Has he not changed the times? Has he not changed? Think about the time, you know. We talked about how we measure time from sunset to sunset, according to what the Most High said. Right. Established that in the beginning, right? In the book of Genesis. And the so-called oppressor came in and decided he wanted to give you a 24-hour clock. He wanted to literally measure the time, the hours in the day, from the minutes to the seconds to the milliseconds. He's thought to change this time. He's telling you that the new year begins in January, whereas to it being the new year beginning around Passover in the spring, when things are literally, the earth is literally heating up. Now you're seeing the foliage start to bloom. Now you're starting to see the fauna, all the animal life coming to life again. You know, you starting to see the birds migrate back. You know, from wherever they go. They say they fly south for the winter. Right. I can't remember the last time I saw a butterfly. You know what I'm saying? But that's when the earth is fresh again in the spring, you know? And our oppressor has opted to change these times and these dates. We just talked about two separate calendars, the Gregorian calendar and the Julian calendar. We talked about 10 months versus the 12-month year. And they also have a leap year, right? It's 365 days in a year. I still don't understand that. 366 days in a leap year? What the hell is that? What does the Bible talk about a leap year? What is the Most High Power instituted a leap year? I mean, make it make sense. And when we talk about the laws, think about the laws of America. T-chart. The laws of God versus the laws of America. I mean, we'll be here all night comparing and contrasting, the differences between what the Most High Power instituted and what the so-called oppressor has thought to change. He has changed it. You can identify as being a goddamn woman when you are a man.
Right.
That don't even make sense. Two men can get married. We just talked about that. It's absolutely law for you to do drugs. Harm reduction is a real movement, man. It's a real movement, and it's enabling our people to continue to, be victims of substance abuse. Instead of you just saying no. That's what they told us in the 80s. Just say no. Remember that? They had the DARE program. Drug abuse resistance education. You had goddamn McGruff come in your classroom. Scared the hell out of me. I understand why my son don't like those costumes. Right. You got some big hound dog with a damn what do you call them coats, man? Go down the 3/4 coat. Right. The Inspector Gadget trench coat. Walking down your hallway. And it's like, what in the world is that? That's otherworldly. You remember McGruff? You ran.
Salakia, and I'm gonna tell you the horrifying, horrific thing that I can speak about. When you talk about that dog, do you know why they chose that dog? Like, anybody know why they chose that dog to be the representation of the Dare to Keep Kids Off Drug initiative?
Hound dog?
Yeah. Why did they choose the hound dog?
We had a real history with the hound dog.
Not only that, but why did so like I know you're rocking, but
no, you good, sir. Go ahead.
Force the task force, if I may. Come on, Kawhi.
Back to the slave patrols.
Because those people, and I don't know, for the state of Georgia, we call them the Red Dog Police. So when they showed up, they used them hound dogs to go into people's houses, and they back now they have like different laws when they kick through your doors. Back then they came in with shotguns. The dogs ran in the house and attack and look for any paraphernalia that they can find, and they would let the dogs drag you out of the house. And if you live in the vicinity of some of the things that I've seen, like in those in the bricks, you understand?
Right.
Like they let them dogs run rapid through the bricks.
Right.
So as children, we see the dogs going in and attacking your cousin.
Good night.
Well, we see the dogs going and attacking your you know what I'm saying, your uncles, and because they was in them drug houses, they was in the trap, and we seen them dogs dragging our cousins out of the trap.
Right.
And that same dog they would bring to the school lot. So hell yeah, we were scared. We were like, what in the world? This the same cop. And not only did they used to use the same cops that terrorize the neighborhoods, they also used to pull up in the same cars that they used to confiscate from them drug dealers that was in the neighborhood too. So yeah, you're right. They use things to terrify the children and leave them in the same state of confusion, and then say, well, you need to change your life, not knowing like we stagnant because of we dealing with so much horrific and atrocities that we see day in and day out. And then you put these characters in front of us and think we're supposed to be easily acceptance of it. So yeah, we think about that dog, what you call it?
McGruff.
That McGruff, man. McGruff the crime dog. Stuck with us.
Red dog, good night. That's crazy, man. That's real trauma there, You see, black people don't like dogs naturally. Most black people have an aversion, a real fear toward dogs based off of slavery. Okay, this is It just makes sense. You know, they would sick them hound dogs on you. This is why you have hush puppies.
Right.
You know, you think about what a hush puppy is, the origin of the food hush puppy, you know, and how they did that to quell. You ever heard a hound dog? Usually, if an oppressor has a hound dog, he has more than one. They use them when they go hunting, you know. Them dogs, you can hear their barking from miles. You can hear, you know, a party of hound dogs chasing a rabbit or a fox. They used to do that with runaway slaves, you know. So it's like, man, that's kind of crazy for us to be oppressed, not just by the so-called white man, but he uses animals against us. You think about those canines that were sicked on us during the whole, you know, integration movement, civil rights movement, man. You see those images of them sicking German shepherds on black people, man. It's ridiculous. Let's finish this scripture off, and then we're gonna go to Deuteronomy 4:40. Is that it on that?
It's like,
okay.
And it's like, and they shall be given into his hands until time and times and the dividing of time.
Right. And what is this talking about? What should be given into the hand of the oppressor, man? We're given into the hand of the oppressor because of our disobedience. Right. You know, this is the direct consequence of us violating the contracts of the covenants, man. Only for a time, though, because in the I.S.U.P.K, brothers is waking up. We're waking up our people. We're waking up other so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, showing you that there's another way, okay? Showing you that you don't have to believe in the ideals of the oppressor as being it. You know, he's established a culture for himself. And as long as you continue to buy into his customs, you're going to be on the bottom. You know, you're going to continue to be destroyed. Our power, the most high power, Yahweh, it's not going to fight our battles for us. He can't recognize us as long as we're joined to the heathen. We're supposed to be separate, man. Drop that. Let's go to Deuteronomy. Let's do Deuteronomy real quick. 4:40. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 40. And there's real value in us learning, first of all, learning these law, statutes, and commandments and practically applying them to our lives. You know, when you know better, you do better.
Right.
There is an expectation on so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. There is no excuse. We are in the information era, the information age. Everybody has a goddamn smartphone. You know, what are you doing with that smartphone? Playing Candy Crush? Swiping left or right, you know, on Tinder? Come on, man. Don't be so simple. All right. Figure out who it is that you are, according to what the Bible says, man. We're the only people on the earth teaching this truth, teaching that there's value in being a so-called black, Hispanic, or Native Indian. Just in being a black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, you get devalued by everybody else because that's what you are. All right. Read that for me, Deuteronomy 4:40, Baba Kushah.
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 40. Thou shalt keep therefore his statutes and his commandments,
right,
which I command thee this day,
right,
that it may go well with thee.
We want things to go well with us. We're one family, man. If you're sinning, I'm joined to you. You're my brother. You know, how am I not going to suffer consequences from your sins? You know, did Adam not bring sin into the world? Everybody has to suffer because of what Adam did way back in the goddamn Garden of Eden. So if Ray Ray is smoking crack, I'm going to suffer because Ray Ray is smoking crack, man. Right. You know, I'm going to be in a constant state of mourning because, you know, when you smoke crack, you die, right? Keep reading, Officer Hayathan Salakia.
And with thy children.
And with thy who?
Children after thee.
And with thy children. The Bible talks about children as being an inheritance unto the most high power. Right. How do you think you're going to be reborn back into the earth, man? How? It's through your children, man. Remember that song, I Believe the Children Are Our Future? There's real truth in that. Right. You know, it just wasn't a funny line in Coming to America. You know, with what's the dude name? Oh, Eddie Murphy. Yeah, Eddie Murphy in Coming to America. You know, sexual chocolate, all of that. You know, there's real truth there. You have to put value in, you know, our children, because that's how you're going to be reborn in the earth. So you can't, give in to the spirit of wanting to celebrate Christmas or wanting to celebrate birthdays. All this stuff is taught in the curriculum. Our kids, we got to send our kids to school, and that's what they're teaching in Esau schools. They're teaching them to pledge allegiance to the flag. They're teaching them that the Pilgrims and Indians, they had a peaceful union. They don't talk about the Indian Wars. They don't talk about that. Over 300 years, the Native Indian, our Gadite brothers and sisters fought to retain their land, to retain their traditions. They overlooked that. All right. Keep reading.
And that thou mayest prolong thy days upon the earth, which the most.
No, length of days is a blessing from the Most High Power, man. You ever see somebody grow old? Usually, what's the life expectancy for a black man, black and Hispanic man? Yeah, it used to be 65. You said 64. Talking about inflation, it's backwards for us. 65, man. I'm beyond middle aged at 40, well beyond middle aged. I'm damn near a senior citizen. Keep reading.
Which the Lord, which the Most High thy power giveth thee forever.
That's right, man. This earth was created for our sake, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. All right. It's very, very important that we learn these laws, statutes, and commandments, and not just learn them, but like I said, apply them to our lives. The Father requires us to worship him in spirit and in truth. All right. And that's my time. I'm Priest and Officer Bon Kayal. We're the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge, coming out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. If you're not in the I.S.U.P.K, under Commanding General YAHANNA, you are not in the truth. All right. And I'm going to bring up Priest and Officer. Who we want? Kawal Yahawada. Just clap it up.
I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We're the I.S.U.P.K. Start on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes to the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They are to be student only. They are here to share themselves in the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment, you can find this in Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10, means 10th in Hebrew, is pronounced by Asherah. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, it's a free will offering for priests, it's not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you like to give. Upcoming holy convocations, the Feast of Purim, 14th and 15th day of the 12th month. Thursday, February 22nd, Friday, 23rd. You can find us in Esther 9:20-31. Also, check out the bulletin board and school feeding upcoming announcements. The 54th annual Passover will be held in Raleigh, North Carolina. Get the Lord a hand for that. If you need booking for rooms, arrangements, and transportation, anything, get with your camp leader to arrange it. Also check out the Grand YAHANNA's Black Watch. I think they're doing something nice Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. Also, all the rest of the podcasts, make sure you like, share, subscribe. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf with that. Imagine. It's just you shall be seated. Men of Israel, we're going to wear the one curse suit to the teacher. Men of Israel, Madam Shabbat, Madi, Barak. Yahweh, Gaji Matah, Sar, turn for your sisters. Sisters Amadia. Men of Israel, we're going to wear the one curse suit to the sisters. Men of Israel, Madam Shabbat, Amadi, Barak. Yahweh Shema, Atah, Hashem, Yahweh Shah. Gaji Matah, class dismissed.